AI is not magical. It doesn't read your mind or infer vague ideas. It interprets what you say literally and probabilistically. That's why the wording, structure, and detail of your prompt make all the difference. A strong prompt can be the difference between a generic result versus a stylized masterpiece. Flat output versus something with emotion, texture, or story. Meh versus wow. Prompt writing is creative direction. Think of prompt writing as giving direction to a highly skilled but literal assistant. The more clearly and creatively you communicate the subject, the vibe, the style, and the content, the closer the result will be to your vision. Prompt writing is not about hacking the AI, it's about communicating like a designer. Prompt engineering is the process of putting together precise and detailed prompts. Just like choosing fonts or arranging a composition, there is nuance to writing prompts. The order of the words can matter, and we know this by understanding how LLMs work to predict the next word based on the words before it. The tone of your phrasing influences mood. Modifiers like cinematic or hyperreal or dreamlike act as filters. We get to dig down into some very specific modifier words later on. Good prompt writers iterate, tweak, and learn the visual language of the model, much like designers learn color theory or grid systems. OpenAI's president Greg Brockman shared a concise 4-step framework for writing effective AI prompts. This approach emphasizes clarity and structure to enhance the quality of AI-generated responses. State your goal clearly. Begin by specifying exactly what you want the AI to accomplish. For example, create 3 distinct logo concept ideas for a sustainable coffee brand named Green Brew, targeted toward eco-conscious young professionals aged 25 to 35. Specify the desired output format. Define how you want the information presented. For example, present each logo idea with a short, descriptive name, a brief rationale, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, and suggest suitable color palettes and typography styles. Next, set constraints and guardrails. Include any limitations or specific requirements to guide the AI's response. For example, avoid overly complex or illustrative designs. Stick to minimalist, modern aesthetics appropriate for digital-first branding. Ensure the suggested fonts are available via Google Fonts or Adobe Fonts. Provide contextual information. Share additional background or preferences to help the AI tailor its response. For example, the brand emphasizes ethical sourcing, environmental responsibility, and a sophisticated but approachable personality. The design should resonate with young professionals who value sustainability, but also style and convenience. With this, you'll get much more specific outcomes that you'll be able to gain lots of insight from. Of course, detail is a big part of prompt writing. We learned earlier how important context is to LLMs. In the last part of our 4-part prompt, we were provided contextual information. We can go many steps deeper in our explanation of brand ethos, target demographic, and desired look. We still have to do all the research for brand design, but AI gives us a springboard of ideation and lets us explore areas we might not have gone down ourselves. The interesting thing about AI is how much you have to equally partner with it to produce something worthwhile and unique. Remember, it is trained on a data set based on human neuron networks and thought processes, so it can emulate creativity, but it doesn't know how to be creative on its own. It needs your guidance as a trained expert of design and guide its way. That is why I'm happy to report that all of our efforts learning design theory, color, layout, typography, photography, cropping, color grading, hierarchy, design history, and styles will absolutely still be needed to produce anything of usable value. We are the art directors. We have to think of AI as a new software tool to help assist us, but we are still very much in the driver's seat. Let's move from writing for LLMs for a moment. We get to do more idea creation and brainstorming using LLMs in an upcoming brand design project. But for now, let's shift into writing effective prompts for image and video creation. I want to show you the evolution of a shoe prompt. So what are the building blocks of a strong prompt? So here's an example. A futuristic sneaker in the style of Bauhaus meets streetwear fashion with neon gradients, reflective surfaces, and dramatic shadows. rendered as a product showcase mock-up for Instagram. Let's break it down. So what's the subject? It's a futuristic sneaker. We can be very detailed with what kind of sneaker it is. Secondly, we establish a style or influence. What art style or reference do you want? So I talked about Bauhaus meets streetwear fashion. Two different styles merged together. And we break it down further, we add details. What should it look and feel like? Include textures, colors, lighting, and mood. So for this one, we did neon gradients, reflective surfaces, and dramatic shadows. And we didn't just say shadows, we said dramatic shadows. We didn't say surfaces. We really made sure we were detailed. Lastly, format and medium. What format is this? A poster, logo, illustration, social media post? What we said is we wanted rendered as a product showcase mock-up for Instagram. We were very specific of the kind of output and format we want it to be in. So we start off with a simple prompt of a shoe. I didn't tell it anything but just generate an image of a shoe. There was no details, there's no context, a shoe. So what it's going to do, it's going to come up with what it thinks is a shoe based on all the training data. It's just a white shoe, there's no characteristic to it, it's not a specific type of shoe. So let's edit our prompt a little bit. Let's add some more details. A modern sneaker with Bauhaus-inspired shapes. So now we have a little bit of shapes and color coming into our shoe. Okay, let's go a little more detailed. A modern sneaker with Bauhaus-inspired shapes, neon glowing borders. Put it on a black background. So now we're setting the background and the scene. We have not done that before. And now we're being very specific with what the lines need to be, which is going to be neon glowing, and it's still going to keep that Bauhaus shape. Let's dig deeper. Let's do a modern sneaker with Bauhaus-inspired shapes, neon glowing borders, put it on a black background. The sneaker rests on a glossy 3D rendered water with additional Bauhaus-inspired shapes in the background. So I'm telling more detail of the background, and I'm also telling where the sneaker rests on. It's going to rest on some water. So we're going to push this even further. I am telling it that I want a specific photography angle. Instead of just a shoe where you see the full side of it, I want a 3/4 angle. So I'm going to add that to the prompt. I want to add more detail. I want it to be raining, and I want the rain droplets to hit the water that it's resting on and the shoe and have it react. I'm telling it not just have it rain, but I want the rain droplets to come down and be reacting. Let's layer more and more detail with this. I want some of the water to rise above the sole of the shoe and splash up against it like a wave in a storm. I want the lighting effects to be backlit with holographic properties. So let's add 2 more revisions. So I did the same prompt as before, but I'm adding keep everything the same, but change the shoelaces to be gold threaded. Make the gold shiny and bright, but also make it so it has slightly warped perspective. Make the gold shoelaces more reflective. Add more splashes of water, a lightning bolt behind it. I'm basically saying more dramatic. So lastly, I want more water splashing up out of the water. I want the water to have more reflection of the neon from the shoe. I want there to be a bolt of lightning in the background. I want this shoe to still have the Bauhaus shapes. I want the neon glow. I want the shoe to be more iridescent. More. I'm adding more details, layering, and I'm making this way more unique than it started out as. The best way to write detailed prompts and learn how to do so is by studying other examples. There are so many fantastic prompt writing examples you can find online. Right now, there is creative value for those who can write very detailed, effective prompts for visual imagery and videos. So much so that people can charge for specific prompts to produce very specific imagery. It is seen now more as an art in itself, just as creative as sketching a picture or creating a logo. Why? Because it takes monumentous effort to write effective prompts. The words used, how we frame the background, the setting, is like speaking a new creative language, and those that know how to speak the language will thrive. That is why I put together some really cool resources for you. Before we head into that resource, I'm going to show you some real-world prompt writing examples. Let's break them down.